Hi everyone, welcome back. My name is Jason, and this plant is Pelargonium graveolens. This is also known as the rose mint pelargonium. And they call it that because guess what? When you squeeze the leaves, they smell like roses and mint. I mean, it sounds almost unreal or like it would be impossible, but it is possible. It's blooming right now, and this is a late spring through midsummer bloomer, and it's also sporadic throughout the year. But it's a great plant to like brighten. It's a color spot in the garden. It really brightens up whatever area you put it in the garden. It gets to about 3 foot tall, 3 feet tall, and 3 feet wide. And as you can see over here, it is reverting. So sometimes plants that are variegated, they're a sport or a genetic mutation on a plant, and they clone it, or they take cuttings and they make it grow roots, and then they grow the plants. You have these variegated plants, but sometimes they like to revert. This is reverted back to green, and you can either remove that by just pruning it off, or you can leave it if you don't mind it. It's the same plant, it's just reverting back to what it originally was like before it became variegated. And I love the variegation, by the way. It has these beautiful, like white, creamy margin leaf edges. It's really pretty, and these cute little pink flowers. You can infuse the leaves into like jams and jellies or cakes and pastries, or beverages. It's a pretty awesome plant. It adds a really nice florally mint aroma to whatever you use it on. It's also good in cut flower arrangements. It's a good filler. I've used mine. But yeah, this originates from South Africa, and it is evergreen, and it has a high cold tolerance of 25 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's just a little below freezing, and this has been through a number of freezes here in California, and it just seems to be fine. It probably doesn't like it, but it does just fine. As far as fertilizer, you don't really need to fertilize it. You can just give it a side dressing of compost in the fall. I like to add an arbuscular mycorrhizae to the compost. Arbuscular mycorrhizae, it is a type of fungus that binds to the roots of the plant and helps the plant absorb more nutrients from the ground. So it's a win-win. And if you're interested, I provided a link in the description below. As far as the soil type that this plant likes, it likes loam, sand. It'll even grow in clay. If you do have clay, though, I would amend the clay soil just because you want to improve that drainage, because this plant does like to have good drainage. But, you know, it is a pelargonium and a tough one. So it is adaptable, but I would make sure it has some good drainage. As far as the soil pH, it's adaptable. You can go slight acidic, and then more towards the alkaline end. You don't really want acidic soil, but once again, very adaptable plant. As far as pruning, you can prune it any time of the year. If it gets too sprawly for you, or it crawls out of the area that you want, just prune it back. You can prune it back anytime. And I mean, you can also wait for the flowers to finish, and then you can prune it more. I kind of like pull back on my pruning when it's blooming, just so that I don't take away too many of the flowers. But you know, they just keep coming, so it's quite easy to keep. I mean, it's just an easy plant to take care of. It's very drought tolerant, and guess what? It's deer and gopher resistant. And I have this theory that over time, plants that are really resinous and fragrant, as much as like maybe a deer won't eat a salvia, or a mint, or a gopher won't eat a mint or a salvia, it's very unlikely. Deer and gophers can do almost anything, and yeah, I'm sure they have eaten them at some point, but they're not at the top of their list. They have a very powerful sense of smell, and these plants are really, really resinous and overly fragrant. And I think that over time, maybe it saturates the soil a little bit to maybe discourage them. Won't really get rid of them, but I think it kind of maybe does discourage them from the area a little bit. So I think that this plant is possibly good in that way as well. As far as propagating it, just propagate it from cuttings. It'll root easily in a glass of water. It attracts bees, butterflies. We're towards the end of the day, so there's not as many right now. Well, actually there's none. I think they're like turning in for the day. But yeah, if you have any questions about this plant, Pelargonium graveolens, also known as the rose mint pelargonium, please feel free to let me know in the comments below. And if you'd like updates on my newest videos, please click that subscribe button. Once again, my name's Jason, and I hope you enjoyed this video.